And Obamacare back in the budget conversation. For more, we're joined by Republican Senator John Barrasso of Wyoming, also a medical doctor. Senator, welcome back to the show. It's great to have you here.
Thank you, Jerry.
All right, first of all, I've got to ask you about this budget. I know it's a House vote coming up, but what do you make of this agreement? We're starting to get real details about what it really means, and a lot of people aren't happy.
Well, you're right, Jerry. I was there on the floor Friday night in the Senate, voted yes to keep the government open and to agree to these. I would have liked to have cut a lot more than we did. I thought it was important, though, that we did fund the troops and continue to fund the military. And I think that the details will continue to come out. The House is probably going to vote on Thursday, and if it passes, then it will come to the Senate. This will be my opportunity to vote for the largest cuts in spending that I've had an opportunity to vote for in the years I've been in the Senate. So I do plan to vote for it, but I wish that the cuts had been higher. Now, as the previous speaker said, we're talking about billions of dollars. Our problem, though, is thousands of times that much. Our problem as a country is trillions of dollars, and the president's scheduled to give a speech tomorrow on the economy. It sounds to me like it's either going to be one of his old recycled speeches, and he's going to want to raise taxes, and I'm against that completely.
Well, it doesn't sound like you have high expectations for the Obama budget. But let me get you to what I know is one of your favorite topics, and that's Obamacare. You've wanted to defund Obamacare, and of course that's not how it was handled in this budget fix Friday night. Are you satisfied with what happened, and what would you like to see going forward?
The Senate will have an opportunity to vote to defund all of Obamacare, but knowing the makeup of the Senate with 53 Democrats, I think it's unlikely that that will pass. I know we are going to be able to look into some of these waivers that have been granted. You now have 2.9 million people, almost half of those being people that get their insurance through unions who supported Obamacare, now saying they don't want to live under some of the rules and regulations over the next year, so they've been getting waivers. They just granted another 100 waivers this past weekend. They've just come out with, they took 6 pages of the bill and have come out with 500 pages of new rules and regulations from 6 pages of the bills. We need to defund this program. We actually need to repeal and replace Obamacare. It is a program that is bad for patients, it's bad for providers, the people that take care of those patients, and it's terrible for the taxpayers, Jerry.
But, Senator, I mean, practicalities being what they are, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So what do Republicans who oppose this, I want to say bill, but it's actually legislation, what do they do next?
Yeah. Well, we've successfully taken one part of this away with the 1099 form. We're going to go after the so-called Class Act, which is a Ponzi scheme that is, even one of the Democrat senators said Bernie Madoff would be proud of. We're going to try to continue to work at dismantling this health care law. It's unmanageable, it's unaffordable, and I believe also it's unconstitutional. So we're waiting to see what the Supreme Court ultimately rules. But this is not what the American people needed in terms of what they want, is the care they need from a doctor that they want at a cost they can afford. And the president had one broken promise after another. He promised if you liked what you had, you could keep it. We now know that's not true. He said it would actually lower premiums by $2,500 a family. We know that that's not true, and premiums are going up higher than if the law had never been passed in the first place.
Well, Senator, the other thing I'm looking at here is the 2012 budget and the conversation over that. Given the knockdown, drag-out fight we had last week, I'm concerned that we'll never be able to get a 2012 budget in place, that it'll be a whole summer of continuing resolutions. What do you think will happen?
Well, I think before that summer comes is going to be the fight over the debt ceiling. We now have a debt ceiling of $14 trillion. When the president was in the Senate, he voted against raising the debt ceiling when it was at $9 trillion. He said it showed a legislative failure to have to raise the debt ceiling. He said it puts us greater at risk and indebted to many foreign countries. And he said that it was a threat to the security of the United States. And that's what President Obama said when he was a senator when the debt was $9 trillion.
Right.
So we are going to reach that ceiling before the 4th of July. And sometime between Memorial Day and the July 4th recess, there is going to be an absolute situation in the Senate as well as in the House where if the president is going to be able to get those votes, he's going to need to do something significant.
How will you vote on the debt ceiling?
Right. Yeah. I plan to vote no for raising the debt ceiling unless there is a significant effort to actually get the spending under control, put the spending in a straitjacket so that we cannot continue to do to this next generation what the president has done to this country with the amount of spending that he has supported. It's irresponsible. It's unsustainable.
Sir, how much is enough?
There are people across the country who are afraid it's irresponsible.
How much of a cut is enough?
Well, we need to not keep spending money. If a family finds themselves in this situation, they cut up the credit cards. And for the country to find themselves in this situation, they have to stop the spending. No matter what the president proposes tomorrow, he is going to increase the debt of our nation, and that's unacceptable.
Well, Senator Barrasso will be following this as long as it takes, so we'll be sure to have you back in. Thank you for your help today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Jerry.